When you go to your favorite burger spot or your favorite taco stand, do you ever wonder where your food comes from? Whether it's the vegetables, the bun, tortilla, but especially the meat. As a former meat eater and meat lover, I can understand the difficulty of asking yourself this question, since it is something that we induce into our diet since we're young for most of us. However, in a growing, advancing society that includes veganism and cruelty-free products, it's important for us to understand the benefits and just the effects of animal-based products. And looking at the bigger picture, this includes farming. Farming has been with us for centuries, ever since the cultivation of domesticated animals. But unfortunately, since we do rely on it so heavily, it's just taking a toll on our planet, causing a bunch of pollution. So we're going to be taking a look at a type of farming that is actually growing rapidly in our time right now, and actually has better possible outcomes to restoring our environment, which is aquaculture. Aquaculture has been improving our seafood demand around the world. It also provides healthier protein intake for us. And we'll also be discussing how the ways that it maintains environmental sustainability when comparing it to livestock farming. Well, on top of that, we'll be seeing the negative impacts of livestock farming. So to start off with, livestock farming, as I mentioned before, is the cultivation of domesticated animals. This includes pigs, sheep, chickens, and especially cattle. All of these animals are a huge contributor to things like deforestation and greenhouse emissions, even though they don't personally know it. So these animals do take up a lot of space, whether it's for them to roam and eat, and just a lot of things that had to do with animal production, such as dairy farms, sorry to say, but slaughterhouses, and crop cultivation. And according to the Worldwide Seafood Alliance, and according to the National Library of Medicine, about 40% of agriculture crops go solely towards animals. And with deforestation, it causes rehabilitation and extinction within other species. So that's a huge issue that farming has to do with, including the release of greenhouse gases, like I mentioned before. Cattle especially have the number one contributor to methane gases, since they do release it naturally. And I'm going to be showing a pie chart how dairy manure and dairy enteric are one of the highest, almost half, that take up half of the pie chart of California methane emissions just itself. Other gases like nitrous oxide or ammonia are released into the atmosphere and take up over a century, almost 150 years, to that just deteriorate our ozone layer. So now that we have a better understanding of what livestock farming is and the impacts it has on us, we're going to be discussing what aquaculture is. It is fairly similar to regular farming, however, because it is cultivation of an animal, which is fish in this case, or crustaceans and mollusks, it doesn't have as much of a negative impact on our planet. We're going to look at the 4 stages of aquaculture that was released from the National Seafood Alliance now. Sorry, I mixed it up. So here we have, you can't really see it, but we have the hatchery itself. Since fish aren't as big compared to farm mammals, fish lay up to 100 eggs, making the production of it faster and growing rapid. Then we have feed mills. Fish also don't require a lot of food. They're fed these pellets that already require a lot of vitamins, nutrients, and even antibacterias that obviously prevent parasites and other diseases. And then we have the actual fish farms itself that don't take up as much space, that we'll be looking into them later, and the actual process when they get released into grocery stores. So that's cool. And since these systems are more are better to manage and the production of it is more smoother, it does solve other issues such as overfishing. We can't depend on the ocean just to provide us our seafood anymore, because it is more dangerous that way. for us to consume and for our environment, since it does save our ecosystems such as coral reefs and tide pools. It also saves other bigger species like other sea mammals such as dolphins, sharks, sea turtles, and other large fish. And fish farms don't also emit as much greenhouse gases than livestock production does. So now we're going to be taking a look at how seafood is a healthier protein intake. So when comparing it to red meat, it is a more lean protein. It is less in fat. It's easier for us to digest, since the tissue of the meat isn't connective as red meat. And it's very nutritious for us. It includes vitamins that help us at a young age for children to develop. Here is an image of a fish that contains with all the vitamins that it produces, such as vitamin A, calcium, zinc, iron, omega-3 fatty acids, which is really good in protein. And then we have other high protein vegetables, fruits, legumes, grains that we'll be talking about later on, and how we can incorporate these alternatives into our diet. And also, since it is more manageable with the fish farms, it does lessen our worry in diseases, since livestock farming already creates about 13 diseases. Since fish are already used to traveling in groups, livestock aren't. They are larger animals and produce more. They have more, how do you say it? More effects of getting sick and diseases. So ways for aquaculture to grow as a whole is just to incorporate more fish farms, making it accessible for other places like urban areas and deserts. In an article from from the World Economic Forum, it shows how new technologies such as, well, they abbreviate RAS, recirculating aquaculture systems, are the new technology that is affordable and accessible to places that can be built in, like I mentioned, urban and desert areas such as the Middle East and North Africa. So that's cool. And yeah, it's just so nice for it to see travel into different places and creating a healthy environment that way. So ways that we can personally help aquaculture grow is just acknowledging your food sources. There is a link that I saw called The Healthy Fish, that it's a vlog, but they have been practicing safe fish farming for over 30 years. They encourage a good fish guide that just follows up with different apps and links for you to look into, and just like different recipes for you to experiment. So yeah, just looking into your food sources is really important. Also, just lowering your consumption of red meat is a great way to start. Having meatless Mondays, so you can get more familiar with how much intake of meat you do. We're going to be looking at examples of plant-based products that we can look at. For example, with dairy, I look into almond milk or soy milk. This is from the brand Khalifa Farms, which is a plant-based dairy company that has been growing for the past couple years, along with oat milk butter that I encourage for people to use. Also, there's different types of alternatives to that, along with different products and companies that you may have seen in your guys' grocery store, such as Beyond Burger, and Morningstar is a very popular one. Silk is also a pretty popular dairy product, well, dairy-free product, and then Khalifa Farms. And one that I don't have on me that I usually do consume a lot of is this plant-based deli, which is called Tofurkey, and I thought that's really cute. And just the way they package it is also really nice. It's environment friendly also. And unfortunately, a lot of us aren't able or lucky enough to consume seafood due to allergens or just personal issues. So just looking into meatless Mondays or looking for alternative based products is really important for you too. It's just a way to practice healthy food consumption, and that way it builds an investment for stores and restaurants to look more into their suppliers, so that way they can continue safe fish farming. So just knowing the differences in farming is also really important, and I hope that we're able to invest our time, energy, and money into aquaculture, since I think it really is the future, and I can't wait for it to become more of a success later on, and I hope that you guys can contribute to it too. Thank you so much.